As a creator of dynamic programs, one of the first things I always ask myself is why this program? Why now? Why me? And why you? And this is just how creation begins when you're creating something for other people to join in with you, especially when they are wisdom teachings and teachings around who it is we are and how we can survive this particular existence at this time and vision for the future. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacy Patrice, and I would like to start by saying this particular video is in reference to the way in which creating programs becomes an absolutely artistic act and how it is that maybe you would see programs, or better yet, why you might be interested in a program that I've most recently created. My most recent program is called To the East, and you can find out more details about it at stacypatrice.com/, To the East. And it starts on January 11th. And one of the questions I asked myself was, why this program and why now? And my answer came from the idea that I felt that we need to get better at gathering our life skills. We need to be more adept at understanding what's happening in our lives and not just waiting for someone to tell us what it is, someone to, sit us down in a formal environment and wax and lecture about what it is. But we need more true and accurate reporting about what is actually happening. And in particular, in the spiritual sphere, we need people who are in the practice to help and share what it is that they've experienced and how what they have seen may interconnect with what we have each individually experienced. So, as it related to the East, of course, I have already been studying sidereal astrology. It's been years. I want to say it was 2019 when I started, right before the pandemic, and all it did was grow. Um, when I really, put my head in and really started studying. And since then, I have taught it, I have given consultations, as well as I have utilized it in my own life in varying degrees of familiarity. And what predated my study in sidereal astrology was tropical astrology. And I just noticed the difference in myself when I understood more about my inner workings. Now, my yoga journey started in 2011, and actually probably first started in 2005, but that's another story for another time. But it officially started in 2011. And my spiritual awakening started in 2003. So when I started looking at these dates and putting these dates together, I started teaching yoga for large groups of people in 2015. And then here we are coming right back here to 2025 last year, and now 2026. I'm just noticing these cycles. I'm noticing these cycles of when I first started information, how it comes back around. And I'm a true believer that when things revolve, they revolve at a different octave. So where you started with something is not where it's going to end up. Where you began studying something or were introduced to something, you may not have been mature enough to be able to take what that thing is that you learned and turn it into gold in your life. You might not have been able to integrate it or apply it because other lessons were loading. And this is true of me, and it's true of most people that I encounter. So sometimes you get that call, that knock that says, "Hey, look at this again. Come back around and check this out." And that is precisely what I did with Sidereal Astrology, but even furthermore about teaching and sharing what my experiences were. It was actually a couple of my students that I used to share astrology with. We used to meet monthly for this activation I call Luminous Life Cycles, which was about getting together at the full moon, looking at the sky, looking at our charts, and doing ritual around the things that were coming up for us that had happened over the last month since the last time we met at the last full moon, and being able to do some kind of action that allowed us to not only thank the lesson that came forth, but also to release it. And so these are the kind of things I love to do with people. I love to take people into ritual, into places where they can learn more, into seeing themselves as my absolute favorite. I love the power and creativity. Can you tell that comes from people when they are doing their thing? I love it. I live for it. So whenever I meet people and they're like, I really just, I need to know more about this. I need to know more about that. I am the first person to be like, please, whether it's me or something that I've studied or something I am still studying, I love to gather with people in that harmony. And the reason why is because when we get together, we actually are paying forward the information that we're learning already. Before any of us gets in front of anyone else and starts to have a conversation, we're already in energetic conversation with each other. We're already listening and learning what there is to know about how much we don't know. And we're finding out and we're getting more curious. We have momentum. We have, that kind of camaraderie, that like-mindedness. We start having vision. We start having creativity. And the next thing you know, we have community. And then when we have that, what are we going to do next? What are we going to create next? And that's just the way that I like to flow. It's a very natural thing for me. I don't like to be in small talk, nor do I like to be discussing ideas with people that have no real utility and just make people feel more damaged, more distracted, and less like they are harnessing life in the way that maybe they would really love to. Why not take that opportunity and glorify what it is that you're most excited about so that the things that you're not excited about don't keep growing weeds in your yard? And that is where my programs come in. And that is also where To the East came in. I said, let's get some life skills around what we need to know direction wise. We need to know more about this universe. We need to know more about the signs and the things that are happening. We need to be in connection with nature like we were during the pandemic, many of us. We need to be in connection like our ancestors were. We need to understand lineages, why things continue for lineages. Why does this information persist if it's not for us to listen to and to learn? Why is it still going? We also need to learn what's going on with us outside of just sitting down and talking to someone. When do we look inside for ourselves and listen and sharpen our intuition and intellect and our own guidance system? We have our own GPS. So a lot of times we meet teachers that are just going to show up at a time to say, hey, I noticed your GPS was trying to make a left turn here. Did you need another route? You know what I mean? Like, do you need another route? Are you ready to make this left turn now? You want me to reroute to bring you back to what it is you're trying to learn? We do that for each other. This is the essence of teaching and why I love it so much. I come from a long line of teachers. People in my family have been studiers and teachers and interested in the educational system. And I didn't even realize most of this until fairly recently, but it's something that is so innate. I can teach from my bed. If I weren't feeling 100%, I would still find some enthusiasm to be able to teach and share knowledge. And so To the East is like a journey. It's like this inward journey that we're taking together individually, but together, right? You have your own exercises that you'll do by yourself. But then we also come online and we work and talk about these topics together. I'll share and introduce and be very informative in my sharing. But then also you'll have an opportunity to share your experiences, ask questions, provide feedback and intel about what your inner experience and your insights are telling you. And I think this is my dynamic way of teaching. And I love to be a dynamic teacher because this is not something that's, you know, me purporting to have all of everything. It is a dynamic, continuously moving narrative. It does not just stop here. If I do To the East again sometime down the line, it will be different than this first one. And every single convening is a capsule. It's a container of sacredness, of information, of connectivity that we get to share together. And it is truly a one-on-one experience. It always is of just the people who are gathered at that time. So of course, I invite you to gather with us. And I have a nice code that I'll put in the caption so that you're able to use that code. And that code is set to expire today. So if you want to go ahead and jump in, use that code today. But I also I give a nice little discount, nice little, I like to call it pricing advantage because we're not discounting anything over here because the knowledge is still going to be full regardless of what it is that you end up paying for the course. So I like to think of this as, you know, an introduction to yourself on your terms at a pace where you can absorb the information. You can also let it marinate and see how it's moving in your life. And then you have people to talk with about this. Because a lot of people who are on spiritual journeys don't necessarily have the people around them yet to talk about with it. Either it's some, maybe strange group that feels a little exterior to the way you do life, but they still have the commonalities, or it's the people around you that you love to do life with, but they are not moving on the things that you're moving on as you're moving on them. And so I consider this a dynamic kind of teaching. And I think that in my practice, me teaching this way and me working with people this way has been extremely beneficial, not only to the people being learning, but also to myself, because I think that a more authentic representation of who we are and how we want to move and the audacity and urgency and curiosity that we have shows up better in these kind of environments because traditional educational environments are not for me either. I like to flow. And so that is what we do. Now, why me? Well, part of it is, simply my experience with astrology, as I have stated in other videos, which you can check out when you have a moment. My experience with astrology has been a deep self-study. This is where it started. This is where it is. This is where it's going. It has been a deep self-study. I know myself for myself, and I am learning the lessons that are sharpening me to be the person that I know I came here to be. And it's already in motion. It's not some postponement. Neither is yours. It's not a postponement. It's already in motion. But understanding the storylines, understanding the symbols, understanding the archetypes, and understanding the players and the character that you are developing is crucially important. And I call that self-love and soul healing. I can love myself better when I know who that is. And I can also move forward and pass the things that feel like they have the potential to be distracting or hold me back when I am clear about why this is even happening. And is it happening for me, or is it something that's happening that is distracting me from what it is that I set out on, and I need more strengthening and more healing in that arena. So there's that. In addition to that, why you? I think if you're here and you're still listening to this video, I know that you are on a quest. Your quest that you are on seems like it's multifaceted. It has a lot of dynamism itself. You have layers. You are a somewhat complex person, and you might not lead with that description because what does that sound like to someone? I'm so complex. No one wants to, take apart a puzzle and put it back together. So a lot of times people don't have a positive response when you're a complex person. But I know from my life, being a complex person is truly a gift. It's something that everyone gets to benefit from. Everyone you encounter, you do the work, you do the invisible labor in order to be this complexity that you are born to be. But it yields fruit for all who stay to engage, encounter, and befriend it. And I know that this is not something that just popped up out of nowhere. You've probably already been called in this way. And maybe now you're at the right turn in the revolution to take it up an octave. And if that is true, and that is you, I'm your gal. I am your gal. I love to see you learn. I am truly a teacher's teacher. The way that people open up and share, and the compassion I have for people who are interested in learning things, but really are tired of the scammers, really are tired of the opportunists and the hustlers, really are tired of misinformation, and definitely are tired of the traditional, super sterile environments in which teaching takes place. Those are the people that I am also not a fan of, and those are never my teachers. My teachers that I elect, whose programs I purchase, who I am a student of, are always a network of people who are very passionate about what they do. They have been studying it for some decades on some level. They have been living their life, and as it has been changing, it has stayed consistent and true to what it is that they are offering now. And I just think we are here at this time to actually lead more mystical lives. And the mystical lives that each of us will lead will require sharpening of intuition and intellect. And the more that you engage in this practice, the more we will have our own ideas, studies, research, and truths at the forefront of wherever we are going next. And that is how I build programs. That is why they are urgent and always on time. That is why they are only for those who are called. And that is why I think you who are still listening would love to head to the East with us January 11th, this upcoming week. All right. So if this resonates with you, make sure you leave a comment at the bottom. Leave a comment. Let me know if you have had this experience that I'm talking about, whether you're a person who creates programs, purchases programs, whether you're a person, maybe you're tired of programs, maybe there's something about programs and the way they're offered that you're just like, over it, right? I don't want to learn anything anymore. Well, unfortunately, there's so much to learn. And those of us in this tribe are lifelong learners. We are constantly not just learning and absorbing information, but actually learning how to apply it and embody it so that wherever we go, it is easier for us to meet those who are looking to move forward with us. And we can stop spinning our wheels in mud, feeling stuck when really the power is within. I thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts, feelings. And again, I'll leave the information for the program in the code below. I look forward to seeing you inside. Peace.